President Donald Trump is just hours from departing on his first trip to Asia as Commander-in-Chief, but has just managed to make a little time for the one man who brought terrorism into this country this week, on his watch. In an act of jihad on infidels preparing to celebrate Halloween on Tuesday, Manhattan terrorist, Sayfullo Saipov, got out of the attack injured, but alive. Officers should have shown him the same kind of mercy he showed his 8 victims, but perhaps saw the bigger benefit in getting information out of him. While he's recovering in the hospital, he's not talking about his connections but is demanding that he be allowed to hang an ISIS flag for his victory above his comfortable recovery bed. Saipov's dead victims aren't able to relax like he is and certainly can't request anything since he took that from them. The terrorist's arrogance knows no bounds, having the audacity to expect that he can wave his sick victory in front of the medical staff forced to treat him, despite his hate for American people. When Trump found out what Saipov had asked for, he showed up with the perfect counter-surprise to his request that didn't go over too well with the terrorist. "We're lucky to have a president in the White House at the time of a terror attack who doesn't make excuses for the terrorist or refuses to call it what it is." President Trump doesn't ask for Americans to have an understanding of the faith that was the driving force behind this attack as his predecessor did. Obama took weeks to declare an attack an act of terrorism as to protect the snowflakes' sensitivities who can't handle the truth of the reality that the people their president brought into the country are radicalized. As a true patriot and genuine leader of the American people, Trump doesn't make apologies for this atrocity and also doesn't sit back and let this terrorist disrespect the American people and our country. President Trump didn't hesitate to respond after hearing what this disgusting killer wanted, by saying what he really deserves and not holding back. The Commander-in-Chief dropped everything and showed up on Twitter to send a direct message to Saipov without mincing words. The Daily Caller reports. President Donald Trump called Wednesday evening for the execution of suspected NYC terrorist Sayfullo Saipov, who mowed down pedestrians in a rental truck, killing 8 in the process and injuring about a dozen others. NYC terrorist was happy as he asked to hang ISIS flag in his hospital room, Trump tweeted late Wednesday evening. He killed 8 people, badly injured 12. Should get death penalty. Trump's tweets come after news reports that the 29-year-old Uzbek immigrant, who pledged allegiance to the Islamic State based on notes left at the scene of the carnage and interviews with authorities, is bragging about his attack and asking for an ISIS flag in his hospital room. Saipov apparently said he was proud of the Halloween attack, during which he shouted Allah Akbar. Court papers allege that Saipov was inspired to carry out the attack after seeing a video of ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Saipov told the FBI that the video was directed to ISIS supporters in the United States, asking them what they were doing in response to the American military killing Muslims in Iraq. The cowardly terrorist should have killed himself like most other terrorists who attacked before him. He didn't have the guts to take himself out and probably decided to live so he could revel in the suffering he caused. He was spared by authorities as well, but Trump doesn't feel like he deserves another breath and without a single concern for political correctness, came right out and said he needs to be dead. Such a declaration would never have crossed Barack Obama's lips since he was far too concerned with praising peace-loving Islam and condemning those who spoke out against it. In the initial hours after the attack, the president said that Saipov should go to Guantanamo Bay but since backed off that suggestion and switch it with something better, the death penalty. This way, the American taxpayers wouldn't have to foot the bill for this terrorists for years who will spend his time radicalizing others from his jail cell to go out and finish his dirty work. Saipov is so far facing a terrorism charge and 1 count of violence and destruction of a motor vehicle with willful disregard for human life. The latter charge could carry a death sentence, the Daily Caller explained. Despite liberals' bleeding hearts for Muslims and condemnation of what they feel is an inhumane thing to say about a terrorist, by calling for his death, that punishment fits the crime. Anyone on the left who sympathizes with this jihadist in any way should lose their American citizenship and be deported out of the U.S. as part of Trump's new immigration plan to prevent future acts of terrorism.